Hello, good day. This is Damien from FixWinPC, and in today's video, we have Raspberry Pi 3 Model 3. I don't know if it's the Model 3B, but this one has Wi-Fi. But what we're going to do with it today is we're going to set it up to be deployed remotely, headless, as a remote point of access to administer other systems within the network. So we're going to set this up in a few ways. One of the ways we're going to do, if it is permitted, we're going to do SSH, which is quite simple, and then we're going to do remote desktop, and also we're going to set up Teamviewer, and last but not least, we're going to do ZeroTier and use remote desktop over ZeroTier, which eliminates the need for any port forwarding. That should be very interesting. Now, I already pre-configured one earlier with all these settings, so I know they work. Now I'm going to take you to the step-by-step process that I did to configure this one with all the various redundant remote access modules. Also, as a bonus, we're going to demonstrate how to set up a cron job for these to reboot themselves every day or whenever you want them to reboot, because they're going to be somewhere remote. So on that aspect, we're going to have two ways to deal with that. One, as I mentioned earlier, the cron job, and the second one is to introduce a Wi-Fi smart plug with which we can set up a schedule to shut down the Raspberry Pi and reboot. So we shut it down for a minute, and then the next minute we just reboot it back up. I've also tested this. It does not affect the function of the Raspberry Pi. Matter of fact, it comes back on, Teamviewer running, ZeroTier service running, everything running just fine. It would be as if it's testing for a power loss. Now, where we're going to set these up, they're going to have a UPS where they would have a backup power supply. So let's jump into it. So the first part we're going to do is go into the basics, installing Raspberry Pi, and then we're going to move forward with the more intricate parts of this series. So stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next clip. Now we go to download the Raspberry Pi. We'll open our web browser and go to raspberrypi.org. I've already done that, raspberrypi.org. Once you are on the website, you go to downloads, right? And it will bring you to the page where you will see you have two choices, Raspbian or Noobs. Now, I would suggest you install Noobs as a beginner, because Noobs will provide you a platform to have options to install other operating systems apart from Raspbian. Now, you can select Raspbian from the Noobs install. It just makes it easier. So that's what we'll do. So you just come to Noobs, click on it, and it will tell you what to do. When you go down here, come to Noobs. This is Noobs Lite, but we want the Noobs. So you can either download the torrent version or you download the zip version. Now, I've already downloaded the zip version because I have a Windows desktop, and I would be using that to transfer to my SD card. So I've already downloaded the zip version. Allow me to pull it up now. Right, so here's where I have it. It'll come in a WinRAR file, a zip file, and you can either use whatever extracting software you have, and you can extract it into a folder, or you can rename the folder if you want, but what's important is what's in the folder. So you will have to insert a SD card, make sure it's formatted using these rules. I'm gonna allow me to bring up this file right here, the instructions. It's very important because previously on the first one that I mentioned that I did, I used the Windows native formatting tool to format the SD card. It worked out just fine, but then I was prepping for the second one, which is for this video, and for some reason the Raspberry Pi would not boot. It was almost as if it had nothing in there. So after trying several times, I came back to this file, and then I read where you would have to use this, the SD Associations formatting tool, and it tells you where to download it from. You download this from here. Now we're gonna go there, copy it, I'll take you there now, so you can see exactly where you have to go to download this formatting tool. It's very important that you use this tool to avoid errors, right? Because I was using the Windows format, thought it was working, it's hit and miss. But with this, right, you come here, they will tell you about the end user's license agreement. Right, scroll down, read it, and once you hit accept, then the download begins. Now you should already have it here already. So once you download it, you install it, you run it, and everything will work out fine where that is concerned. Alright, so that's that. Let's get back to the Raspberry Pi. So now that we have opened all these files, now what you're gonna do is pretty much open another window and have, let's say we're gonna open, let's just open desktop randomly. Oops. Alright, so you're gonna open desktop in another window. So this is where you would have your SD card open in another window. Alright, and then you would just copy all of these files and then drag and drop them over into the empty space. Not going to be filled up with stuff here because I already did this. I already have it on the SD card. There'll just be an empty space here, and this is where you will copy it to. Right, so let's not do that. So once you've done that, once you've taken all the files from the noobs that you extracted from the zip file and you put it into your SD card, once you've done that process is complete, then you remove the SD card and you go on to actually installing it on your Raspberry Pi. So we're going through the installation process, and here we're seeing where it's going to load Raspbian. You see the full recommended. Now if I click on it, you see I need more space. The only other thing is this Libre Elect. Now these are not the operating systems that we want ideally, so to get more I have to enable the internet. To do that I have to go to Wi-Fi networks, select my SSID and enter the password. Which is right, so now it's connected. You see a bunch of other operating systems come along. Now this is where you can install other things like Windows 10 IoT Core, but today we're going to deal with, you see there's 3 Raspberry Pi images here. So the one that we want is the one that, the third one here, port up there with the Raspberry Pi desktop, because if you select this one, too much, we don't have enough room in our 8 gig SD card. But if we take this one, we have enough room. Now I just need a basic install because it's not going to be doing too much of anything else like trying to be a desktop, but what it's basically going to be doing is going to be a gateway for us to administer some other devices. So all we really need is a web browser and maybe a space to read some text documents, and that's pretty much it. So we'll go with this install. Once we have selected it, we'll hit install and hit yes, and the process will begin. Now this is going to take a while, so we'll come back when it's completed. Now it is complete. You see it says OS installed successfully. You just click OK, and now it will reboot into Raspbian. So we see it setting itself up to go into Raspbian. Just make an adjustment here real quick. It's doing its thing there. And now we have the Raspberry Pi desktop. Now just make a note of this IP address and then we hit next. We select the country, which is United States, yes, American English, and we look for a time zone that is nearest ours. We are in Trinidad. Our time zone is closer to Venezuela, but since in America we have nothing else closest on the East Coast, which is New York, you have to select New York. And we'll use US keyboard, use English language, and then hit next. Now whatever your language is, you will select. Set in location to get the time, because as you can see the time is saying 1:32 in the AM. It's presently 5:58 in Trinidad. Alright, good. So we need to enter a new password. So for demonstration, actually no. Alright, so for this password, I'm setting up for the client. I'm putting the password they need. And confirm the password. Alright, next. Desktop should fill the entire screen. Tick the box below if it has black border at the edges. Now this last one I did, I checked this and then the screen got all weird and wonky, but for the video purposes here, we're going to keep this screen as is. So we just hit next. Now it's looking for Wi-Fi networks. As far as I know, we already have a Wi-Fi network, so we can skip this step. Now it's going to update the software. Hit next. So it's going to check for updates. It's presently reading the update list, and it will go through an update process now. So I'll come back when it's finished with the updates. Alright, upgrades are all done. So it's telling me my Raspberry Pi is now set up and ready to go, and they want me to restart. But before I restart, I'm just going to enable the SSH and show you how easy it is to enable that, so you can SSH using a secure shell or PuTTY in Windows, and you can remote into your Raspberry Pi and administer it via the command line interface. So I'll just hit later instead of restarting. Now I'll hit later, and then we just come up to where the Raspberry Pi symbol is. We will click on that. We will go down to preferences, and we will go down to Raspberry Pi configuration. A window should pop up. You go to interfaces, and here you will see SSH. You just click enable, and then you click OK, and that's it. We've just enabled SSH. Now that's the first part of the remote access we just enabled, and now I'll restart, and then we'll get into the other parts. We'll shut down, and I'll hit reboot, and that should reboot the device. So now we see it going through its reboot. Just takes a few seconds. And It's telling me about recovery mode. It's going in, and pretty soon we'll be back at the desktop in no time. So it reboots fairly quickly. Right, and back into the interface. So next we're going to configure. What are we going to configure next? We're going to configure Teamviewer next. Alright.